spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to this story through the Marvel fan page where you can get plot synopsis and character bios. So we are going to be looking at the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man #1. I have this issue in several incarnations. However, none of them are the original. I do not own the Amazing Spider-Man #1. I have quite a few different reprints from different ways it has been done in the past. So rest assured that if I had it, I would not be selling it. It would be with me till I died, and then my daughter can do whatever she wanted with it. But alas, I don't have it. So all right, so we have already covered Amazing Fantasy 15, so this is technically Spider-Man's second appearance. So, and here he is going to meet the Fantastic Four. Great cover by Steve Ditko, and extra added attraction: Spider-Man meets the Fantastic Four as the Chameleon strikes. Once again, we are this cover. I love how Ditko sort of got the webbing under control. It was kind of all over the place in the first issue. So, all right. So Stan Lee is doing the script with Steve Ditko doing the art. So, note: Spider-Man first appeared as a feature in Amazing Fantasy #15 in August. So great was your response via letters and postcard that it was decided to give him his own magazine. So here we see Freak, Public, Menace. So, and here's J. Jonah Jameson's. Sure, you've read many stories about many different magazine heroes, but there's never been a story like this one because there's never been a hero like Spider-Man. Does anybody know what these things meant, this V816? I see a lot of covers, or I'm sorry, a lot of comic books had this in the beginning. I don't know what that little things, but I've seen it in DC Comics and different other Marvel comic books. So, all right, our scene is in the bedroom of Peter Parker, the teenage student whom many consider to be a shy bookworm. But oh, if they only knew. And he throws his costume. Uncle Ben is dead, and all because I was too late to save him. My Spider-Man costume. I wish there was no such thing. And so we're going to get a brief origin story because, you know, they may have missed it. So we're just going to kind of skip over those few here. But look how quickly they did the origin. You know, just 1, 2, 3, 4 panels. So... and we basically caught up the reader with everything they need to know. So, and now Uncle Ben is gone, and Aunt May and I are alone. And he goes, and what's worse, without Uncle Ben, we've no money to pay our bills. And Aunt May here is telling the landlord, please give me a little bit more time. I'll pay the rent next week if you'll only wait. So... Aunt May, there's only one thing to do. I've got to quit school and get a job. And she's like, no, Peter, you mustn't. Your uncle always dreamed of you being a scientist someday. You must continue your studies. And, of course, he's thinking of something here. But I've got to help Aunt May somehow. Wait, with my Spider-Man powers, I can do anything here. He's saying he's thinking already of becoming a villain and robbing a bank. I can go anywhere. No one can stop me. Any amount of money could be mine just for the taking. But no, you know, here he is in prison. But no, what am I thinking of? I'm no criminal. I'm not a thief. Besides, if I were ever arrested and in prison, it would break Aunt May's heart. No, there's only one one other way. I've got to perform again. I've got to bring my Spider-Man act before the public once more. I'll call a booking agent tonight. So, a few days later, hey gang, look, Spider-Man's gonna put on a show at the town hall tonight. And the admission is only $1. Let's all go. Count me out, kids. I can't make it. We might have known he'd rather study. Ah, who needs that walking bookworm anyway? It'll be more fun without him. So, that night, as the audience is amazed by Spider-Man's prowess, none suspect the real reason that Peter Parker couldn't be in the audience. I couldn't very well be doing this act and sitting in the audience also. And look at them all gasp. Finally, after the show, all right, it's time to pay you, Spider-Man, but I can't give you cash. I've got to give you a check, so there's a record for taxes. What name should I write the check out to? He goes, name? I can't tell you my real name. No one must know my identity. Just make out the check to Spider-Man. Okay, you're the boss, but you'll have a mighty tough time cashing it. A tough time cashing it? We'll see about that. And so, I'd like to cash this check. I'll have to see some identification. What about my costume? Don't be silly. Anyone can wear a costume. Do you have a social security card or a driver's license in the name of Spider-Man? He's like, no, I don't. This is so silly. I love it. But as Spider-Man finds that he cannot cash his desperately needed check, just across town, a man at a typewriter is making still more trouble for him. When I'm through with this article, Spider-Man will be run out of town. And if we, of course, get J. Jonah Jameson. And the next night, might as well go back home where you came from, Spider-Man. There'll be no show tonight or any night. He goes, what? Why? What happened? He goes, this happened. Look at this editorial. The paper has everyone so steamed up that they'll probably toss you in jail if you show your face. But why? What have they got against me? What have I done? And you can see the article, Spider-Man Menace. But not satisfied with merely writing editorials, J. Jonah Jameson, publisher of the powerful Daily Bugle, delivers lectures all over town. We cannot allow that Max Menace to take the law into his own hands. He's a bad influence on our youngsters. Yes. Adults always looking out for the kids. What about the children? That is a slogan as old as time. Children may try to imitate his fantastic feats. Think what would happen if they make a hero out of this lawless, inhuman monster. We must not permit it. I say that Spider-Man must be outlawed. There's no such place for a dangerous creature in our fair city. I love how they portray him here. The respect of this nation must learn... The youth of this nation must learn to respect real heroes, men such as my son, John Jameson, the test pilot, not selfish freaks such as Spider-Man, a mass menace who refuses to even let us know his true identity. And so Peter's just reading. I love it. You can even see the scowl. I don't get it. How do other superhuman guys like the Fantastic Four and the Ant-Man get away with it? Nobody bothers them, and they always seem to make enough dough. Bah, I don't even believe that there is a Spider-Man. It's all a publicity stunt. Look at that, just 5 pages in. So Peter says, well, if I can't make a living as Spider-Man, the only other thing to do is find a part-time job. I'll look through the want ads. And he gets here and he's like, but again, Peter Parker meets with frustration. Look, Sonny, I am looking for a school kid. The job I advertise is for a man. And he's like, but. And then this newspaper article is saying, extra, John Jameson is about to orbit Earth in rocket. So, I think they meant in a rocket. Who am I to... I make plenty of mistakes all the time, so... Alright. Say, that looks like... It is. It's Aunt May. I wonder where she's going. And so, she's pawning off some jewelry, making him feel so guilty. But look at that smile. So, I am convinced that Aunt May and Uncle Ben are the same person. She looks, Steve Ditko kind of draws them very similar. So, he feels guilty because she's pawning out stuff because he can't even get a job. So, and here's again about John Jameson And Peter's just angry. It's all his fault. Because of him, I can't perform in public as Spider-Man. But I can't give up. I've got to earn some money somehow. I can even let Aunt May down. Even if it means the Spider-Man will again stalk this city by night. And he pounds on this wall. So, all right. Part 2. The next day, having nothing better to do, Peter Parker finds himself among the spectators, anxious awaiting the orbit of a flight of John James. So, ever notice they're flying a rocket out of New York? Because I doubt he went to Florida. So, it must take a lot of courage to go up there in one of those. I bet even Spider-Man would think twice before volunteering for this ride, huh? And Peter's like, I suppose so. So, and the countdown is 15 minutes. Of course, there's Jonah, and he's like, this is it, John. Make our country proud of you, son. As proud as I, your father, am today. I'll do my best, Dad, I promise. And this guy says, good luck. Minutes later, the capsule with John Jameson inside is set to orbit by a perfect launch. But then disaster strikes. A small section of the forward guidance package breaks loose from the capsule and falls into space. Without the essential guidance unit, the capsule goes into an erratic orbit, completely out of control. He's like, something's wrong. I can't control her. So, down on Earth, look at that. Jameson's in there. What is it? What went wrong? And this guy here is, capsule is out of control, sir. Component 24-3B has broken loose. Condition red. And so they're all here. Like, this guy's like, even the capsule is doomed. So things are not looking good. Acting with desperate speed, the space technicians attempt to drop a steel net to catch the capsule, but with no success. A complete miss. We've got to find a better way. While unsuspected by all, a better way does exist in the form of Peter Parker, who has observed the entire dramatic event. He pulls his costume out of a locker. There's only one person who can save John Jameson, and that is Spider-Man. And so he goes through and goes to where everybody is, and everyone's like, oh, there's just nothing we can do. And Spider-Man's like, you're wrong, there is a way. Of course, they're all surprised by him. Let me have the missing unit. I'll get it into the capsule somehow. Very well. We have nothing to lose. There's no way we can do it. Just like that. And he's like, and Jameson's like, Spider-Man, bah, he's just a publicity-seeking phony. He's trying to grab a headline. What can he do? And Spider-Man's like, instead of flapping your lips, mister, just watch and see what I can do. And so Spider-Man goes through. This guy's like, halt, identify yourself. Oh, I love it. And so he takes the airplane and just gets ready to jump. Oh, okay. So this guy flies him in there. My gosh, I haven't seen this in forever. Oh, how funny. All right, so he uses his web, catches on, and boom, off he goes. My goodness. All right. So, I've got to pull myself up, fighting against the wind resistance. Even my strength can barely just do it. There, I've reached it, but now the capsule is losing altitude dangerously. Can I attach the missing unit in time? And so, here we go to part 3. And so, what a lucky break. It fits in place as smooth as silk. And within the capsule. Capsule under manual control again. I will eject, shoot, and land immediately. And he did it. Or he's safe. I did it, Spider-Man says. Spider-Man succeeded. The capsule's about to land. And James is like, my boy's safe. This is as good a time as any for me to get off. I'll bet I'm the only living person who has ever had a ride like that before. I better make myself scarce. I'd just be embarrassed if everyone wants to congratulate me and make a big fuss about what I've done. Anyway, from now on, I guess I shouldn't have any trouble about performing in public. I'll bet even Mr. Jameson himself would hire me. But then he reads the paper, and says like, "Oh no, it can't be. It isn't possible. Why? This newspaper demands that Spider-Man be arrested and prosecuted." An editorial by James Jameson. And so he's like, "This was all a plot by Spider-Man to steal the spotlight from my son. I accused Spider-Man himself of sabotaging the capsule so that the guidance unit would fail off." And, and so everyone's like, "They fear me more than ever now," Peter thinks. And this guy's like, "Spider-Man ought to be run out of the country." So, and here's a wanted. Report him to the nearest FBI office. So, oh dear, I certainly hope they find that horrible Spider-Man and lock him up before he can do any harm, says Aunt May. And what can I do now? How can I prove I'm not dangerous? How can I convince people that I wasn't responsible for the failure of the capsule? Everything I do as Spider-Man seems to turn out wrong. What good is my fantastic power if I cannot use it? Or must I be forced to become what they accuse me of being? Must I really become a menace? Perhaps that's the only course left of me. So our lonely boy sits and broods with the fate of society at stake. What will his decision be? What will Spider-Man do next? Only time will tell. The end. Believe it or not, this was only 14 pages. All that was just in 14 pages. Of course, there's then another story. So it's just amazing how much stuff was included. And of course, here we have Versus the Chameleon, and an extra bonus. Extra, in this same amazing tale, you will meet America's most famous, most colorful group of super adventurers, the Fantastic Four. I love that image here. It's kind of like a second cover. So how can you defeat a man who can change his identity before you can catch him? Perhaps you don't know the answer, but the Spider-Man was determined to find out no matter what. Of course, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko again. All right, so we know him better as Peter. Well, misprint here. It's Parker Palmer here. It says, but the world knows him as only as Spider-Man. Say, why didn't I think of it before? There's a way I can make some money by joining the Fantastic Four. They'll probably jump at the chance to have a teenager with superpowers working with them. It'll be a natural. Okay. Here's her private elevator, but the blame thing isn't working. Oh, I forgot. It can only be operated by one of the Fantastic Four using a special electronic beam. Well, that won't stop Spider-Man. Forcing a couple of locked doors open is mere child's play for. Heck, I didn't figure the elevator would be above me. No room to climb past it. Minutes. Oh, okay. So, Palmer again. I wonder if Stan Lee just screwed this up, or if this was perhaps written first. Stan Lee has admitted he had his memory issues or remembering the names of it. So that's just weird. Man, I haven't read this in forever, so I guess I never noticed it. But I am noticing the art's a little rough, so I wonder if this was drawn before the feature story. So just kind of weird, but I digress. So anyway, well, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I should have thought of this right away. They'll probably be twice as impressed when they see how easily I got into their private skyscraper headquarters. So here goes nothing as he walks through the web. And then people see him. It's Spider-Man. What a bonus I'll get for this shot. He's heading for the Fantastic Four headquarters. He balances himself on that strand of web like a human spider. At that moment, an alarm rings in the ready room of the Fantastic Four. The alarm, someone's trying to sneak in. Ben's reading the paper and the Human Torch is burning it. He must be some kind of nut to think he can take us by surprise. So, there's his picture in our viewplate. It's Spider-Man. Why didn't he phone for an appointment like anyone else? Because he's a teenage cornball show-off, just like the Torch. And so, how obliging of them to leave a window open for me. This is a breeze. Activate defense measures B, just to be safe. So, Spider-Man busts through, and then they get him trapped with this. Got news for you, loudmouth. It ain't that easy. What? A plexiglass cage dropped from the ceiling. This gizmo may keep out the riffraff, gruesome, but it's a joke to me. And he opens it up. That device costs us thousands. If you wreck it... Don't worry, Rubberface. This squirt's gonna be taught some manners right now. Ow, you big ape. Who do you think you're pushing around? So, God, I love this. This is so cool. I haven't looked at this in years. So, he throws the thing into the Human Torch. Did you forget you're messing with a guy who has the proportionate strength of a spider? And Ben Grimm says, for crying out loud, that's what I get for pulling my punches on account of his size. And Mr. Fantastic's going to try to grab him. Now hold it, son. We don't want to fight with any stranger. At least not till we know what we're fighting about. And Spider-Man says, who's fighting? Just consider this a little exhibition. And he webs. I can see why McFarlane created a better web, because this just it does look silly, but he caught my hand in that net of his. He certainly does live up to his name. And so here comes the Invisible Woman, and Spider-Man, or she says, while invisible, I might be able to get this rope over our impetuous young friend. And he thinks, my spider instinct senses danger behind me. Have to move fast. Who tossed that rope? Don't see anyone. Wait, it must be the Invisible Girl. Well, I'll just give her a whirl for her money. And so here comes the Human Torch. That's it, you animated insect. Fun's over. I'll settle you now. Flame on. And Spider-Man says, he's got me in a circle of flame. Well, I'll just jump over that clown's little trap and keep out of reach until his flame dies down. And then it'll be my turn. And the Torch is like, hey, stay still, darn it. And then here comes Mr. Fantastic. That's it. No more fun and games, fella. Someone might get hurt. Now suppose you tell us what you're here for. And here's Ben Grimm. Get out of the way, Killjoy. Give me another crack at him. It's about time someone asked me. I came up here to join up with you. I want to be a member of the Fantastic Four, so I thought I'd give you a demonstration of what I can do. So now, let's get down to business. How much does the job pay? I figure I'm worth your top salary. And the thing says, I knew it. That cook has rocks in his head. I'm afraid you made a mistake, Spider-Man. We're a non-profit organization, says the Invisible Woman. We pay no salaries or bonuses. Any profit we make goes into scientific research. You came to the wrong place, pal. This isn't General Motors, says the Human Torch. We just keep enough money to pay our expenses. Every other cent goes into developing the most effective super crime fighting apparatus we can create. Besides, aren't you wanted by the police? This isn't Outlaw Anonymous. And here comes Spider-Man leaving. I might have known you're just like all the rest, ready to believe the worst of anyone. Okay, keep me out of your group. Who needs you? I'll make you guys look like pikers. And wait, come back. So, too bad he left so suddenly. Perhaps we could have helped them. And the thing says, we've got enough kids to worry about now. And Mr. Fantastic says, somehow I have a feeling that we'll be hearing more from that young man in the future, says Mr. Fantastic. So now we're moving on to a different scene here. So a defense installation at the edge of town. So we have here the chameleon. With my multi-pocket disguise vest, it will be an easy matter for the chameleon to become you, friend janitor. Minutes later. So far, so good. Disguised as a janitor, it was easy to gain access to this restricted area. And now, another fast change, and I will take the identity of Professor Newton. Why didn't he become Professor Newton to begin with? Alright. Ha! Nothing can stop the chameleon. With the right disguise, I can steal anything from anywhere, unchallenged. That night at the chameleon's hideout, the Iron Curtain countries will pay a fortune for these plans. A TV bulletin. The entire city is wondering why Spider-Man visited the Fantastic Four today. No comment, says the FF. So, rumors are flying all over New York. Unofficial sources claim Fantastic Four is being considered for membership in the FF. Nonsense, claims the police commissioner. I think Spider-Man's visit is of interest to the chameleon, too. Yes, very interesting. And so he's reading the newspaper here. There's only one reason Spider-Man would want to join the Fantastic Four. Being sought by the police, there's no way for him to earn a legitimate living. He must be desperate for money, and this is where I come in. Spider-Man will make a perfect fall guy for me. When I steal the second half of these missile defense plans, I'll have him put the police off my trail. There we go. So Spider-Man has the powers and instincts of a spider, so I will send a message that only his spider senses will be able to pick up. No idea how that works, but that's okay. Calling Spider-Man, meet me on the roof of Lark Building at 10 tonight. It will be very profitable for you. And miles away at a neighborhood museum where Peter Palmer, man, oh man, okay, Peter Palmer. All right, is studying the spider exhibit. Someone is trying to contact Spider-Man. I can sense the frequency waves, but who? Well, no matter who it is, I can't afford to pass up a chance for profit. I'll just leave my clothes up here, and then, a few minutes later, almost time for me to take over the elevator shift. Yes, it is time, but not for you, the chameleon. After binding and gagging the real elevator operator, the bogus one brazenly takes his place. I'll relieve you now. It's about time. I'm bushed. Elevator operators. Goodness gracious. Then, once inside the elevator, so far my timetable is running right to the split second. Now to change it to my Spider-Man guise. And finally, Spider-Man, how did you get in here? What do you want? Those missile defense plans which you're holding. I can't believe it. You, a traitor, wait. My web will keep you a prisoner until I can escape. He uses the little gun here. That's so cool. The artificial web isn't as strong as Spider-Man's real one, but no one will notice the difference. Seconds later. Help, police. Spider-Man's heading for the roof with the stolen plans. He'll break free. Good. It's going according to plan. And here's my ship. I can't fail now. I'll be gone just before the real Spider-Man gets here. And so off he goes in that little helicopter. I'm sorry I won't be there to hear Spider-Man try to talk himself out of my trap. And he says, strange, that helicopter must have just left the roof I'm heading for, as he leaps toward it. I wonder who sent for me. Nobody's waiting on the roof. And they're like, look, there he is. Free, Spider-Man. We want those secret plans you stole. Plans? Stole? I'm beginning to smell a rat. I don't know what this is all about, but nobody's framing me for anything. That'll hold you till I can get away. What a fool I was. That message was a trick to pin a crime on me, and I fell for it. But who could have? Wait, that helicopter, the pilot, is the one the police really want. If he hasn't flown too far, I can use my spider senses to tune in on the ship, get its location. And he gets them. I don't think that's how it works, but hey, that's all right. Well, I'm going to catch Well, if I'm going to catch me a speeding whirlybird, there's only one thing to do, and that is get a real fast start like this, so you can see how he uses the web there and create how exactly would he parachute, because the air would just go through and he would fall, but that's all right. All right, so he gets there, and there's, lucky for him, there's a boat, and here's a Russian submarine here. So our hatch is jammed, it won't open. How will we get the plans, comrade? Forget the plans, we've been seen, submerge. So now to find out who framed me, and this guy's, or the ship goes down. I can shake him off no matter how I maneuver. I can't. So my bad. All right. He ripped off the door with his bare hands. End of the line for you, commie. Head the ship toward shores, and I mean now. Head to the commie. Oh. And before the police have left the Lark building, look, here's the guy you're looking for, the guy who stole those plans and impersonated me. But the next split seconds, the wily chameleon drops a tiny smoke pellet and breaks free in the confusion. Before they know what happened, I'll have taken a new disguise and be free. He can't get out of the building. All exits are guarded. Search every room. So, let them search. I knew this disguise would come in handy. Who would ever suspect a policeman? And so, he's the one in the middle, because he's looking out. That tingle, I feel close. My quarry's close, within striking distance. And the cops, or the chameleon's like, he's wise to me. If I can just pull the fuse, one of these cops must be a phony. And then he's doused alive, but that won't stop me. I can still sense him in the dark. I'll just shoot my web over there. Oh no, I'm all out of the special fluid. So I've got to reach that exit before he does. It's the fastest way. And he's like, help! Grab him! The chameleon disguised as Spider-Man again. And they're like, oh no, you don't. You're not gonna fool us a second time. Wait, he's lying. I am Spider-Man. He's like, oh, it worked. Now to slip away. And so, look at him. Go up the wall. He was the real Spider-Man. Every time I try to help, I get into worse trouble. Well, they can catch that spy themselves now. And within minutes, they do catch him. Here he is, Captain. I spotted him by his torn uniform. I could see his other disguise beneath it. He's like, blast it. I must have ripped it in my scuffle with Spider-Man. So, this is awesome. Oh my goodness, I haven't read this in years. I am just thoroughly enjoying reading these since, with you guys. I haven't read this in years. So, and as the chameleon is led away, a lone figure loses himself in the shadow of the silent night. Nothing turns out right, sob. I wish I had never gotten my superpowers. Later, as the late edition comes out, 4 famous figures ponder the case of the Amazing Spider-Man. Read, he's so powerful and so confused. What if Spider-Man ever turns his superpowers against the law? Yeah, if a teenager can be so blamed strong, how strong will he be when he gets older? Ah, we won't ever have to worry about him. Won't we, Johnny? I wonder. And so, and the whole world will have to wonder until our next great issue. Don't miss it. So, Spider-Man #1 from 1963. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed rereading this. Like I said, it's been years since I looked at it, so it was fun. So, like and subscribe, and I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.